Welcome, children of God, loved and saved by Jesus. This is the Christ for Disciples podcast, and I'm Pastor Paul Steinberg. First discipled by my parents, discipled by many other people in my church and in the schools I attended, and now I'm busy discipling the 6 kids that God gave me and the 5,000 kids that I work with as part of Chaplains in Schools, the City for God. This week we're looking at Jesus anointed at Bethany from Mark chapter 14, and we're going to apply that to ourselves and see what we can learn from the lady, from Judas, and from Jesus here. Let me ask you as we start this Monday, how often do you sit with people? You know, that might be if it's a cold winter like it maybe was in some of the past times, or you're just in a state like mine. You might sit inside a living room, or maybe you choose to go to a restaurant, and instead of eating and getting out, you sit around and you just have a chance to, talk. And there's moments of silence where different people can talk. People gather, people talk maybe in one whole group, or maybe there's a couple different small groups, something like that. When it's warmer in my state, that happens in the summer. People sit outside. They maybe go and they eat outside. They maybe gather, and you just have a chance to kind of be there. And there's no agenda. There's no plan. There's no presentation. You're just kind of there. And you're just kind of gathering. Maybe it's a family gathering, July 4th, a Juneteenth, birthday gathering, whatever it is, and you're just kind of there, and you're available, and people can talk to you. Now, I know it's a little different because I'm a pastor, but when I do that, people who have something they want to talk about will often find me. Or if I'm walking around and there's a quiet corner, they might ask me some questions or let me know something that I might not know otherwise. I imagine it happens in a different way when you're not known as a pastor. But if you're somebody who cares and a good listener, and I'm not really a good listener, I'm not. I care about listening. I want to listen, but I'm not as good as so many other people that I know. If you're a good listener, more people are there and they get a chance to talk to you, and then you can listen and say something back and affirm or share the gospel in some way. Really good things happen when you're just there. It's important that in a busy 2024 where people are all kinds of electronics and entertainments and activities, that we don't fill our schedules or our kids' schedules up with so many things that there's never a time to just kind of gather. If our kids are busy with the softball game, then we find a way to invite several players over, a couple parents over, and we just have some time with some good food. Again, Jesus and food go together so well. And we see that in Mark chapter 14, that Jesus is at somebody's house, not at a church service, not teaching a whole bunch of people, but he's just kind of there, and really good things happen. Let me read from Mark chapter 14, just that verse 3. While Jesus, was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume and made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Just a interesting scene. Jesus is sitting at the home of Simon the leper. So we assume that Simon may have somebody that Jesus healed. That got to be his nickname. He was the leper, but now he could have people over. So was this someone in response to Jesus? What he did, this seems to be a comfortable spot where his disciples were there. Doesn't seem to be lots of Pharisees and Sadducees there. So was this a relaxing time? A gathering time for Jesus and his people? We still find opposition and Pharisaical thoughts coming in. But was this, this was a chance to kind of just be there and in a very casual way. Love up Simon and love up the people that were there. Jesus' availability, was a very important part of his ability. Sometimes people will say availability is the most important part of ability. And I guess you could say that's true. If you're not available, it doesn't matter what you can do. If you don't have time to do it, you won't do it. But it certainly is a big part that people feel that you are approachable, that people can talk to you. You don't always seem busy. I have a team of chaplains that I work with that are busy at schools, and one of the key things that we work on is making sure they make their rounds. That they have a chance to be in places where people can talk to them. And for some chaplains, that they seem like they're being lazy, or maybe they should be doing something or have some. No, just go to the lunchroom where the staff members eat and kind of hang out and be there. Eat your lunch for an hour and a half. Don't eat 3 lunches, but be there. And so when teachers come in one at a time, either to make their food or heat it up, or maybe they have a chance to sit down, you're available. In the morning, walk around the school, and while teachers are getting ready, just walk into the room and don't just lean your head into the door, but actually go into the door and look relaxed. Maybe have a seat. Give body language that shows that you aren't worried about getting to the next room. If you give body language, which is a big part of your communication, that you're going to the next room, then unless something is urgent, they're not going to share. It's really key that we find a way to be approachable to our friends and our families, that we find ourselves in spots where we can minister. And I'm not, my kids tend to be people that we want to be by ourselves. We like that alone time. I don't mind being here recording a podcast, sitting in a room all by myself. I like it. But I know I need to go out. And when I'm with people, good things happen. So if you're somebody like me or like my kids, maybe a little more introverted, depends how you talk about it, make sure you get out there and you find yourself. If you're somebody who's extroverted, make sure when you go somewhere, you aren't busy talking the whole time. That you just calm down and you sit and you kind of be around. And you come up with these times and you just analyze your life. And as you work with your kids, make sure they have those times too, where maybe they're with friends that don't go to church, that they just have a chance to gather and do things. And you can have activities, but that time of just kind of sitting around in a circle, facing each other, maybe in a room or around a table, is a big deal. So think of ways. Can you have, your friends over? How about sticking around after church a little longer than you think? Just kind of hanging around, and put in your schedule that after church you're not leaving for a half an hour. And maybe for the first, 15 minutes, you make sure you don't talk to anybody that you used to talk to, that you know a lot, that you look for new people first, and then you break off. Maybe you have a Matthew party. That's what Matthew did, and maybe this is what Simon did. After Matthew was called, he invited all his tax collector friends and Jesus to get together, and he served the food. Is this Simon who was healed, and he would have been ostracized, and now the people who befriended him, yet he has all kinds of people come on over. Oh, you don't know. No, but Jesus, he was so busy, and so many good things he could do, but yet he took the time to be ready in informal ways to minister. He did it perfectly in our place, and now forgiven by that perfection in his sacrifice on the cross, we strive to be like him. Thanks for taking 600 seconds so Christ doesn't take second in your life or the life of your kids. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine and be gracious to you. The Lord look on you with favor. Amen.